Hello. Today I'm going to be talking to you about a Wolfcraft Dowel Jig that I bought. I bought the jig itself, which will allow you to do dowels at 10mm, 8mm and 6mm. Then I bought the set of bits and the adjustable collars to go with it. When I initially opened it, it seemed like a sound piece of kit. It's made from extruded aluminium, quite weighty. The stops and everything very positive in their adjustment, all quite good. It was a bit of a pain in the arse to put together. The instructions, although comprehensive, are laid out in such a way that they're a right pain in the arse to use. There's a lot of flicking through various different pages because they have all the languages on one page with figures, rather than just having one language in a section and then you can refer back to the figures. Not a format that I found very easy to use at all, but others may. So that's my one gripe with the instructions. To learn how to use it, I actually referred more to YouTube videos than I did these. What can I say? Anyway, onwards. I'm going to be making some carcasses up for my workshop, and they're going to be doweled together. And what I've basically got is I'm going to have a couple of sides, and then between them, top and bottom, I'm going to put some braces. Don't know what you call them, I'm not a carpenter, so hey ho. So there'll be 4 of these and 2 of these. These are going to, each corner is going to have 2 dowels in it and a screw to hold it together, and they're going to be glued and doweled. So first off, to save confusion, what you need to do is actually letter and number your pieces so that when you do all your joints you know which one's going where. Okay, the first thing you have to do is you have these 2 reference pieces here. There are 4 in all. The end stops here and here that are adjustable inwards and outwards, and then there are these 2 that you can adjust this way, and they're to reference along the edge of the board to give you the depth of your cut. Now the depth needs to be set on these 2 clamps here. Okay, you see the scales here, so this will do between 12 and 40mm boards, and you need to reference this line against the bottom of this stop here for the approximate thickness of your board. Now the board I'm working on is actually 18mm, but we don't have an 18mm depth. As you can see there, we've got 12, 16 and 20. Doesn't really matter which one you pick, 16 or 20, as long as you use the same reference for all of your work you'll be okay. So for me, I'm just going to set them both at 20. You undo the nut. There's quite a positive click to this, so you won't get it wrong. And then you align your line up with the bottom of the groove there, tighten it up, and do the same for both of them. And then you're good to go. Each time you drill a hole, you'll get the same depth away from the edge of the board for all of your work pieces. So that's set. You then need to position the jig on your piece of work, clamp it down and drill the holes. Having set my depth stops, I've slid them along the rail. You can adjust them this way and that way to suit the width of your workpiece. Set the depths, both at 20mm. These stops here give you the distance from this edge for your dowel holes. First problem with the jig, these are in no way adjustable outside of these stop holes. So if I undo that there, the only thing I can do is actually slide this stop up to the next hole. So that has in essence determines where these holes fall on my workpiece to within that distance there, and sometimes you might want to do it between it. For instance, with my workpiece, the holes, if you can see them, yeah, are sitting here, here and here. Number 5 doesn't work at all. Number 2 for my taste is a little bit close to the edge, so I would like to be able to adjust this stop to allow that to sit something like that. Now you can in theory do it by slacking it off and clamping it mid-range between the stop holes like that, and it's firm but it doesn't sit flush. I don't know whether you can see that with the jig, and it could slip, etc. I would have thought that Wolf could have given you a set of these that would have allowed you a little bit better adjustment to line up your dowel holes. So that being said, it's going to sit on my workpiece like that. I then drill the holes here. So I need to prepare the sliding carriage, then clamp all the workpiece down, and I can actually drill my holes then. Right, I've changed my mind about this, and I've set up the end stops to be in between 2 holes. They're firm enough, but I'm much happier with the doweling positions, and I've made sure that they're square along this edge. So that needs to be clamped to the workpiece, and we need to sort out the drill guide here. Now Wolfcraft send this with 4 bushes. I'm not entirely sure why. They send it with a 5mm, which is in there, 6, 8 and 10mm. Their standard drill bit sets come in 6, 8 and 10mm. I just don't know what the 5mm bush is for. Well, if I find out, I'll tell you in a separate video later on. So we need to set this carriage up for 6mm, which is what I'm going to be using. So I'm going to take out the 5mm bush that they tell you to set it up with, and put the 6mm bush in. There we go. And then, as you can see, the 6mm drill goes in there, interference fit, so you're going to get an accurate positioned hole every time. And then you just pop that in, and then as it goes to a hole, it locks in place, and if I were to drill through there, I get my 6mm hole in that position. So you lift the lever up, slide to the next hole, drill through there, you get your dowel, you get the picture. So that's how it goes. So let's clamp this down. So there we go, ready to drill. Going to set the drill up, and let's talk about the depth stops on the drill bits. Okay, we need to set the depth stop here. The distance from the top of the bush, from the top of the bush to the material, is 32mm. You need to go 2/3 of the board thickness for your hole, so that gives us 12mm on an 18mm board, gives us a total overall length of 44mm, which is there. They don't give you any Allen keys to do them up. They're all different sizes, or at least this is smaller than the 10mm, which is 2.5, this is 2mm. So set that, and we're good to go. So having set the workpiece up, set our drill up, you just insert the drill into the guide, not with it running, then you start your drill piece up, drill down, and away you go. Should be fine. Now I want to miss number 3 and drill at number 4. So need to lock it into position, tighten the nut down, and insert it here, and away it goes. So that should be those 2 holes drilled in exactly the right location to match my next one that I'm going to talk about, which is going to go in the rail here and here, and then hopefully they'll line up. Okay, I've had a bit of a think about this, and apart from getting these holes in the wrong positions, because I was supposed to put one here and one here, but hey ho, I'll do the others to match now. What it meant was, with how I'd got the work set up, is that every time I wanted to drill holes with it that way round, I would have to reverse the jig to do the other end. This way, with both edges of the boards where I want the work holes to be drilled, here, 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 I can actually just put the jig on. So once I set it up like this, I can do these 2 in diagonals, and then when I set it up for the other end, I can do these 2 in diagonals, and that's going to make it a lot quicker. Okay, the jig doesn't take a lot of time to alter, but every minute saved. So I'm now going to do this diagonal and just clamp my jig down. And then I'm drilling this hole, coming back, full stop, and doing that hole. Then I'm going to quickly release the jig. So having drilled these 2 diagonals, I've got to reset my jig to do these 2 diagonals. Now it's really quick and simple. All you've got to do is slide these so they orient more to this end of the jig. Now be careful when you undo them, only undo them fractionally and slide it up. If you undo it too far, like I did the first time, you knock the depth out and end up having to reset it. So that's that part done. So that now sits there against that end stop quite nicely. Now there are two ways you can do this, depends on how your mind works. You could take this carriage out and put it in that end, so that you've got the stops lining up as they were before. Or, if you're not using the end holes, you can just slide it down this way. Now, to save confusion, I prefer doing it the first way. So, and then you're doing that one. Then we can quickly set it up around here again. To do that there, I need to get myself some wider reach cramps for this, I think. Unlocking. So, if I've done the job correctly, I've got my 8 holes, all equidistant from the edges, that way, that way, that way, that way. I won't know until I put it together. I'm going to do the other board, flat board, and then I'll set it up to do the rails. To help keep this movie to a reasonable length, I've gone over to 10 times speed here, but wanted to include it to show you the general process. Here I'm just swapping the jig over to the other hole set so I can drill those. It all went quite smoothly, no problems at all. I found out that if I do the inner holes first and then slide the carriage backwards, that way I'm not getting problems with this pin bedding on swarf drilled from the previous hole. If I do it the other way, then this pin doesn't always lock down. You need to make sure that this locking pin is actually engaging as well. But for the first time I've ever actually used this jig in anger, I don't think it's been that difficult. Set the rails up. It's taken me about 5 minutes, and again this is the first time I've ever done it, and makes sense to do all of the A sides at one time and all of the B sides at one time. The jig was set up for B at the moment, so that's the ones I'm going to do first. So again, doing the inner hole first. Just there. That one done. Then to move the jig over, I've had to set this board a bit further back so the tail doesn't catch there. Again, making sure that everything's set up nicely. Move over to the inside hole first. And again over to 10 times speed to try and keep the movie length down. I did find with a bit of practice I could actually hand hold the jig as long as the workpiece was held securely. It wasn't a problem, and I saved a load of time messing around with clamps. Okay, and then to set up for the other side, all I'm going to have to do is undo these, slide them up here, take my carriage out and insert it in that end. Again, I could have just slid it across if I wanted to, but and then that's set up to do side A's. Okay, that's all done and it's ready to assemble. We'll see how we go on with that shortly. Okay, so there's my first box fully assembled. I need to clamp it and screw it, which I'm going to do now. Not too bad, it's not perfect. These all seem to be fine. These faces, some are okay and some I've messed up slightly. Obviously I need to be a little bit more careful when I'm setting up the jig, but you know, lesson learnt. For a first time using a jig that I'd really only just got out of the box, I'm quite happy with it. So before the glue dries, I've got to get on and get these screwed up. Now I'm showing you this at 20 times speed. All I did was pilot drill, countersink 2 screws into the end of each rail. In the previous clip I said I had to take more care with the jig. It wasn't that I'd done anything wrong, I'd just forgotten that the jig was set at 20mm board thickness and not 18mm. So when I put the actual carcass together, I needed to get the rails the right way around to make sure the dowel holes lined up, and that would have left the joints flush. Okay, that's finished. I've used this piece of timber here to square it up, keep it square whilst it dries and whilst I fit it, and I'll take that off. So what do I think with the jig? Well, considering that this is actually the first time I've ever used it, I am not displeased with the way that it went. I've learnt a lot. I need to take a little bit more time clearing swarf out when I use it, but that's because I'm not a carpenter, so I'm not used to that kind of thing, but I'll get used to it as I progress onto more fine cabinetry. Simple to use. The instructions were rubbish, got to be said, but it's handled this project quite well, and I'm sure it will stand me in good stead for later on and taking more time with it on the setup. Yeah, good piece of kit in all. Buy one. Cheers, thanks for watching. Have a look at my other videos. Please subscribe and like. Look forward to your comments. Nice to hear from you. Bye.